Welcome to the IAA Transportation Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the IAA Transportation Podcast, live from the IAA Transportation Hall 18, right next to the main stage. My name is Dominic Liban, and today we have a special guest joining us, Brady Ericson, Chief Executive Officer at Phinia. We'll be discussing the road to carbon-free combustion with a focus on hydrogen as a robust and viable technology to decarbonize automotive fuels. Brady, welcome to the podcast.
Great. Thank you very much, Dominic.
Phinia was launched in July 2023, and in a short span of time, the company has already made significant strides. Can you share with us some key achievements since the launch, particularly in the areas of sustainability and technology leadership?
Sure. I think first and foremost is in the last 12 months, we've really become a truly independent company. So we're out of all the transitional services agreements and everything else from our former parent, have established our culture, put in our values and beliefs, and are really in a good spot and have delivered 4 strong quarters. And I think that's getting a lot of recognition from the industry. I think from a sustainability standpoint, we actually just launched our first sustainability report last August that really highlights a lot of the drive that we have not only in our products, but also in our CO2 reduction efforts within our own facilities, as well as nearly 80% of our R&D dollars being spent on efficiency improvements as well as alternative fuels.
And why do you believe hydrogen, and particularly hydrogen combustion engines, is such a viable solution for the automotive industry's journey toward carbon neutrality?
Well, I think people are starting to realize the limitations of pure battery electrics. You know, the additional weight, the range, and the availability of fast charging, especially in heavy-duty trucks and off-highway applications. So our view is that a liquefied or a gaseous fuel is going to be around for decades, if not the rest of the century, in transportation and construction. So that's kind of part of it. Now, how do we get those transportation and construction that are using a liquefied or a gaseous fuel to carbon neutrality or carbon free? And we think hydrogen is going to be a great enabler of that over time. I think it's going to take a long time. There's still a lot of infrastructure challenges. The cost of hydrogen still needs to come down. But as you know, the industry moves a lot slower than maybe, TikTok and these other things think things can just put an infrastructure in place for even battery electrics. It's going to take a decade to get the right infrastructure. And so we see the same thing in hydrogen. We're going to have to incrementally improve every single year. And it may take, a decade for hydrogen combustion to be a significant revenue generator for us. But we've got to continue that path. We've got to start making those steps. And so that's kind of what we feel. And then the hydrogen combustion, we think, has significant advantages because the hydrogen that we need to run hydrogen combustion is a much lower grade. And so it makes it easier to transport. You can pipe it, you can truck it, you can use rail, and you don't have a lot of the restrictions that, say, a fuel cell requirement has a very, very stringent hydrogen quality requirement. And any kind of contaminants in that fuel is going to destroy the fuel cell, where an internal combustion engine is going to be more robust. So that's just on the fuel side. But then think of all the infrastructure that's there too. Think of all the engine plants. Well, if you replace that engine plant with an engine with a fuel cell, all that gets scrapped out. What about all the technicians and the service technicians? They don't know how to service a fuel cell. They know how to service an internal combustion engine, and hydrogen is really leveraging the supply base, the technicians, the field, the durability that everyone kind of knows and loves, but now it's carbon free.
So you said you can still use the plants that are already there. So the hydrogen combustion engines, are they the same?
Very similar. Again, you may change the piston bowl design, you may change compression ratios, but the head, the valves, the turbochargers, they're all going to be just slight tweaks to what they are for a gasoline or even a diesel application. And one of the great things that we have here this week, we actually have a demo vehicle that we've actually converted a diesel engine to run on pure hydrogen with the same amount of performance, towing capacity, operations under a cold environment, refueling times. That's going to be very comparable and even quieter than a diesel application.
Yeah, but hydrogen combustion is just seen by many people as a bridge technology, actually, to a fully electrified future. How do you see the balance between hydrogen internal combustion engines and other technologies like battery electric or hydrogen fuel cells evolving over the next decade?
Yeah, I think in general, each application is going to benefit from one or the other. Our view is that hydrogen ICE is not just a bridging. We think it's a longer-term solution. And we're getting that feedback from some of our customers as well. Battery electrics make a lot of sense for delivery vehicles that come back to a home station, can recharge overnight, but they still have a large recharging time, especially for long haul applications. Maybe they can get, 400 kilometers, 500 kilometers, but that doesn't even last an entire shift for a long haul. And then they have to recharge, and it may take them hours on end. And so we don't think that's going to be a very efficient solution. The other challenge with battery electrics on some of those big vehicles is their weight. So now you're adding all this battery weight. Well, now you have to reduce your payload. And that also then becomes a challenge.
Yeah, but what about the hydrogen fuel cell vehicles? Because these are actually seen as the alternative to the combustion engine.
I think the fuel cells are interesting for certain applications. I think the challenge that the fuel cell has is that it's extremely costly. We don't have the infrastructure. The plants aren't in place. So they have to get all the supply base, the manufacturing capacity up to scale as well. And they're very, very sensitive to both air quality, can actually cause them to deteriorate and fail, as well as fuel quality. And so our view is with the lower grade fuel quality, the internal combustion ICE, hydrogen ICE, may be a little bit less fuel efficient, but the cost of the fuels are going to be substantially less. And so from a total cost to ownership standpoint, we believe H2 ICE is going to be a better solution.
Your test vehicle demonstrates impressive towing capacity and range. Can you tell us more about the performance of the 2.2-liter four-cylinder hydrogen direct injection engine, particularly in terms of durability and how it compares to traditional diesel engines?
We expect it to be truly transparent to the end customer. The performance is there, the towing capacity, the fact that it doesn't degrade under low temperatures as battery electrics do under cold environments. And so we expect with the 700 bar tank that's going to be in it, it's actually going to have the same range. Refueling times are going to be the same. I think probably the biggest difference is going to be a little bit quieter because it's going to have the noise level of maybe a gasoline direct injection rather than diesel that has the compression ignition.
And Phinia is quickly becoming a leader in lower carbon propulsion. Can you share with us your approach in innovation and how it's helping to shape the future of clean automotive technology?
Yeah, we've actually support all different fuel types. So gasoline, diesel, biofuels. We've actually just launched our first E100 or ethanol 100 in Brazil that allows them to have a carbon neutral type fuel, natural gas and hydrogen blends, all the way to 100% hydrogen. So our pathway is really around evolving over time into these different e-fuels and carbon-free, carbon-neutral fuels of tomorrow is our way to really kind of help customers transition over time. Because there's a huge installed base of these fossil fuel engines and everything. They're going to have to continue to be maintained. And rather than just waiting for the perfect solution, maybe a fuel cell is the right solution in 30 years once it works through all the different issues. But we can't stop improving what we have today. And we think hydrogen ICE and e-fuels and biofuels and natural gas are going to be great steps to help reduce emissions.
You mentioned strategic partnerships earlier. Could you provide a specific example of a partnership that has helped accelerate Phinia's technology development or market entry, particularly in the hydrogen space?
Yeah, I think you'll see at our booth as well, we'll have an example of Saudi Aramco. We're working with them on an application and development. We have grants from the DOE with the UK government and some French government and universities on developing the infrastructure for both durability testing and performance testing. We've received some subsidies there as well. We're also working with a lot of the hydrogen producers, whether it's the Linde's, the Air Liquides, the Air Products of the world, to work with them on solutions as well on how we can convert some of their vehicles to hydrogen. And so we're working with a lot of folks on some demo fleets in testing. We've got a number of engine dynos that run on only hydrogen that we're doing a lot of durability for them as well. And we receive a lot of support from both governments and our customers for that support.
With so many innovative propulsion technologies emerging, what do you see as the key differentiators of hydrogen combustion engines compared to other decarbonization technologies in terms of ease of integration, performance, and cost effectiveness?
As I've highlighted before, I think the nice thing about hydrogen ICE is the fact that the supply base is there, the infrastructure for manufacturing is there, the service technicians are there. Really the biggest challenge we have is putting in the hydrogen infrastructure, the tanks that are needed, as well as bringing down the cost. And those are two hurdles that I think we know how to improve upon it, and with scale, we can put the structure in place from an infrastructure standpoint. We can put it in the hydrogen hubs. In the U.S., they've announced the Hydrogen Hub initiative where they're putting those things in, and especially for construction, we know how to ship, we know how to pipe, we know how to truck fuels to the locations that they need. That's a much more efficient way than trying to have power lines from Northern Africa that have green hydrogen or green energy and trying to get that to Germany. It doesn't make sense, because once you go above maybe 300 or 400 miles, the cost of the infrastructure to transport that electricity goes exponential, and it really goes down. And that's one of the big challenges of battery electric is you also have to have the renewable energy where it's being used. You can't take it long distances. And that's where one of the big benefits of hydrogen ICE is going to be. We can develop or generate the green hydrogen in one part of the world, and we know how to transport it and pipe it very cost effectively to other parts of the world that need it.
Looking ahead, where do you see Phinia in 5 to 10 years in terms of technological innovation and market leadership? And how do you see the hydrogen combustion market evolving during that time?
As I mentioned, I think we're going to continue to evolve rather than revolutionize the industry. Our industry moves in a very methodical pace. And so I think over the next 5 or 10 years, I think we'll continue to make things more efficient. I think we'll start to have more biofuels and dual fuel type technologies, helping us reduce our carbon footprint. And as I mentioned earlier, I think hydrogen starts to become a more significant part of our revenues in hydrogen ICE, probably in the beginning to mid part of the next decade. And that's where I see us really laying that foundation and being ready for a large growth as we grow to 2040, and 2050.
That's very, very interesting. That's a very nice topic. And now the last questions. What are your expectations for IAA Transportation 2024 since it started today with the press day?
Yeah, I mean, for us, this is our first one as an independent company. So obviously getting our message out there, getting people to know us and the technologies that we provide. You know, even though we've only been around for a year as Phinia, as a brand new company, we actually have over 100-year legacy and history. And so I think people see that with the Delphi brand, the Delco Remy brand, and the products and components that we bring together. And, you know, I think we're here with a lot of our key customers as well. So I think it's another great opportunity to continue to meet with and bond with our long-term strategic partners and plan out where they see the future together. So we see it as a great opportunity to reconnect with customers and friends and kind of talk about where the future's going. I've been here a few times before. I was here actually 2 years ago with my former parent before they spun us off. And this is probably my third or fourth time here over the last couple of decades.
So thank you very much. It was a very, very nice, interesting interview, and I wish you a very, very nice day or actually week here at IAA Transportation in Hanover, Germany. Thank you very much, and see you soon.
Great. Thanks, Dominic. Bye-bye.
For more information about IAA Transportation, visit our website or check out our social media channels.